So before you start capturing video or brainstorming ideas, we really want to know who is talking and how they talk. So what does that mean? We are talking about creating a brand personality. So even if you haven't actually articulated this just yet, you actually have one. If you've been talking on social, if you've ever written copy for your website, if you've written an email, all of those things are part of your brand voice. What does that really mean though? Personality, voice. Basically, what we're talking about is if your brand were to spring to life and hang out with us, maybe go to have coffee, go to happy hour, we want to think about what that person would be like. What are their defining character traits, their motivations? We really want to create this and intentionally and really get to know this person. So the next question you might ask yourself is why? Like, why do I need a brand personality? Why does that matter? And what we have found, and really what studies have shown, is that having a brand personality, it helps you stand out from the crowd. It makes you different. It also helps you connect with your audience. It helps you build trust, build recognition. If you think about your favorite brands, you probably like them for more than just the fact that the product or service that they sell is really high quality. You like them because the way that they interact with you has some sort of meaning or connection. A brand personality also helps you know what's a good fit and what's not a great fit, especially when it comes to content. So if you think about if your personality is maybe a little bit more formal and professional, then maybe creating a reel about fashion or something is probably not a great fit for you. So thinking about how those two things connect is important. Okay, so now we know why it matters and what it is. Let's talk about some pro tips for actually creating your own. So we like to start out by, when we're working with clients, to start out by creating basically a persona. So what we're thinking about is kind of crafting a character, basically. We want to think about that person's lifestyle. We want to think about those sort of defining character traits. We want to think about what makes them tick. What is the thing that motivates them to live life? You can start out by creating that from scratch, or you can start to think about characters that you might be familiar with, or even dive into brand archetypes, which is like a whole field of basically organizing character traits into different categories. So once you've started to ideate on that sort of lifestyle, it's time to layer in tone of voice. So you want to think about more than just what does this person do for a living and what are their passions and their hobbies, but we want to think about what is it like to talk to them. Are they super talkative and really bubbly? Are they witty and a little irreverent? Are they educational and straightforward? Are they empathetic and calming? All of these kinds of things are sort of key traits that you can layer into your tone of voice. You can start by ideating those on your own, or you can sort of Google a list of tone of voice traits if that helps you, or you can take a peek at like a sliding scale. There are sort of different scales out there that you can look at that will sort of show you, okay, if there was a scale from formal to informal, where might your voice fall? From funny to serious, where might your voice fall? These are all sort of exercises that you can do to hone in on your exact personality and tone of voice. From there, one of the things that we like to do with clients also is to identify a character or a celebrity as an alter ego. This is just something that gives you a really quick recognition in your mind. So when you go to write from your brand's tone of voice, when you think about writing a caption, writing copy for your website, anything like that, you can kind of immediately think of that celebrity or that character, and you sort of kind of bring something to mind super quickly. So if you think about, if maybe Jennifer Lawrence, you think about her, she's kind of like silly, but she's very down to earth, but she's very talented, but people really like connecting with her. You could imagine her voice is very like friendly, but a little bit quirky, maybe a little irreverent. Those are all the kind of things that just immediately come to mind because I have a vision of who she is. So you can think about and identify that celebrity or character as your alter ego. And then finally, thinking about a list of maybe example statements or kind of keywords, maybe some brand language that your persona might use. If you consider your industry, if there are specific words that people use in your industry, and do you use those words yourself, or do you have your own way of doing that? Maybe considering how you start out an email or how you sign your salutation or something. These are all aspects of how we sort of employ our brand voice. So it's really great idea to consider those intentionally and come up with a list and really agree on that with your team and have everybody understand it. So the group of you that might be writing from the brand's tone of voice will kind of all be on the same page. And then lastly, before we head into audience, if you get stuck in this section, one of our pro tips is always to just do a little bit of research on your brand crushes. So if there's another company out there that you feel like does a great job of, writing social captions or email newsletters, go ahead and do some research and kind of see what you feel like is in alignment with your brand or your industry and use that as inspiration.